Right, hello and welcome guys, and in this quick tutorial video I will be demonstrating how you can scan for web objects or directories, how you can brute force for directories on a web application. I'm going to be also showing you how to use three separate tools to achieve the same task or to do the same thing. So what are web objects? Let's give ourselves an overview of what they are. So I've got here a website to the MMU university page, and you can see it says www.mmu.ac.uk. Now, on every specific website, the web developers will have what you call directories within that website, where they will have different pages for content that they actually upload to that specific web application. So let's say, for instance, I click on current students. Watch what happens to the URL. We get the slash student life. So there's a directory where the student life page is actually stored within the mmu.ac.uk website. If I click on something like study, you can see once again the URL changes to study. So for every object that you might click, or the might take you to a specific directory or object within that web application. So using a tool like Directory Brute Forcer, which I'll be demonstrating in this video, we can scan for common words and see if we can find common directories or web objects within a web application. So let's get into the demo. So I've got my Kali Linux and my Kong virtual machine powered on. What I'm going to do first is to do an if config. So both my Kali and the Kong are in the same local area network. So I've got the IP address for my Kali machine is 192, the IPv4 is 192.168.219.136. And I'm just going to perform a quick net discover to find out the IP address of the Kong virtual machine. So I will scan my network address /16, and I want to find out what the IP address is without logging in into this virtual machine. While that is going on, I'll also open a different tab where I will be doing a quick Nmap scan. So I'll wait for the results to come back and I'll begin my Nmap scan. Okay, so from the net discover, I can actually see the IP address of my of my Kong virtual machine. So I can verify the scan has finished, and this is the IP address for my Kong virtual machine. So I'm going to copy this IP address and then do an Nmap, quick Nmap scan. I'll just do a standard Nmap scan. Let's do a -SV to scan for versions, and I'll perform a quick Nmap scan to see what ports are open on the Kong virtual machine. Okay, so remember, we want to focus on the HTTP service, which is because we are brute forcing a web application. We can see that this IP address of this specific machine has got port 80 for a web application. So we can confirm a web application is running on port 80. So we can copy this IP address. I'll go on to a typical browser and paste. And here we have just an HTML page. There's nothing to click. There's nothing going on this web page, just a blank page of an HTML web page of an image of King Kong. So let's try to brute force to see if there are hidden directories. Okay, maybe there's a /admin, I don't know, or a /student or / whatever. We want to find out if there are web objects stored on this web application, on this web server. So the first tool I'm going to introduce you to, let's clear a screen, is a tool called Gobuster. Gobuster is a tool written in Go and is very quick at performing web directory scanning for web objects. I'm going to look at the help menu, and it says if you want to do file or directory brute forcing, we should use this command. We also have some flags like if you want quiet mode, and you have to produce a word list in order to use. So let's run the command for Gobuster. So we can do Gobuster, and we want to brute force a directory. Okay, so we use the dir. We use the -u flag to then specify the URL that we want to brute force, 219, I think the 138. That is this URL for, okay, 168.219.138. Now we have to produce a word list. Now what word list are we going to use to brute force this specific web address? So on Kali, you do have some word list that we can use. So we can just run the command locate word lists, and we can see different directories here where we can find different word lists. Let's go for this one, the Dirbuster word list. That's the one we'll be using in this demonstration. We can end this now, and we use the -w, paste in that directory. Okay, so it says this is a directory, so I'm going to clear screen, run that command again, slash, okay, so Gobuster directory -w. Then if I do that, I'm going to press the tab key on my keyboard, and it shows us which one do we actually want to use. So I'm going to go for this word list, directory medium. So I'm going to type in directory list 2.3, and I'm going to go for the medium.txt. So I think everything looks great. Let's just click on enter and see what Gobuster is able to find. So you can see straight away it's found index/blog/files, and we can see the status code, the HTTP status code for all of these web objects. So it means that if we go to the /blog, there's something on /blog because we got a 200 OK, and fair enough, you can see we've got this page. If we go to the files, we can see it's found that web object files. Okay, so we can see there are some files here as well, which we couldn't see when we initially had this web page like this. So there are web objects hidden behind here, and Gobuster is able to find it. It's also find Joomla, cars, and all of this. There is another flag we can put. So type in this command again, a -e, and we run this again, and this time around it gives us the full URL. So before I was going here, now we can just click on the link, open link, and here we can see the /documents. So there are a lot of web objects, as we can see, /cars, open link. We have a /cars to a website that actually hosts cars for sale. So typically you can see this tool is very good. It is using the word list that we provided. Okay, we can have a look at how many words are in this word list. So let's copy this word list. We can use a command called wc-l, and we'll paste this, and we've got these are the number of words. Let's see the flag for wc help. So if we want to find out how many lines in that specific file or how many words, okay, that's what we did before. We have over 22,000, I believe, um, words in this specific word list. So that is what Gobuster is using, and now it is finished. It's found other websites like Joomla, and these ones are status code 301, which might indicate that you need to log in into a specific web page. So if you see a 301, you should know what the status code means. 401 is asking us for an HTTP authentication to log into that specific website. So it's protected by a web HTTP authentication. Let's have a look at the others. 403 is saying something like forbidden. So eventually if this loads, you can see forbidden. So different web objects with different HTTP status codes, 200, 301. So basically this is how you can use the tool. So depending on how strong or the kind of words in your word list, Gobuster will run that directory check to find out what objects are hidden or can be found using the specific word list that you have presented. The next tool I am going to demonstrate is a graphical user interface tool called Dirbuster. So type in Dirbuster to your Kali Linux command line, click on enter, and we're presented with this graphical user interface. So similar to what we did before, we can copy the URL that we want to scan or brute force, paste that here. Okay. We can make this faster by increasing the thread. Now it's asking us to select the word list. So we can just use the word list that we used before, the one we used for our for our Gobuster scan. We can just copy the same word list, put it into the tab here, and it says, do you want to brute force directories be recursive? Now the be recursive means if it finds a specific directory, it will go into that directory and make checks as well. Do you want to brute force files? What type of extension? So in this scenario, if you want to also check for things like txt, you can put a comma, or maybe you want to check for HTML. You can also, depending on the extension. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to leave this at PHP. Everything looks fine, and I'm going to click on the start button, and you can see straight away it's found the same directories similar to what Gobuster found. So we have files, as you can see, we have files, we have documents, and it's going into the documents folder as well as the other ones, and it's scanning for the web objects. So similar to that as well, you can right click and open up this in web browser. You can go back here. Let's have a look at the files as well. You can right click and then open in browser. I think I clicked the wrong one. Open in browser, and you can see once again we're able to open up the same directory. So depending on your preference, if you prefer to use something that is, graphical user interface, you can decide to go for this. If you want to use, it's found the cars as well. Open this, and you can see similar. So if you prefer Gobuster is very quick. If you prefer this, you can use this as well. If we click on the results tree, we can actually see it giving us a sort of directory structure. We can also see the response code 200 403, similar to what we had in terms of when we did our Gobuster with the status code. So this is another tool you might want to use. So I'll stop this and I'll go on to the command line and do a Control C to stop Dirbuster, and that closes the graphical user interface tool. The final tool I'm going to introduce you to is a simple tool called Dirb, similar to Dirbuster, but this is from the command line, and we can also just specify the IP address. This is the simplest one to use, 219.138, and it will, oh right, HTTP spelled wrongly. And you can see it goes in here as well and performing a scan, giving us the status code. By default, it is using this word list. You can give it your own word list. So if we end this and we just look at the Dirb command line, you can also give it a word list by specifying the word list you want to use. Can't remember what flag that might be. So if you want to scan for extensions, yeah, if you want to use a specific word list, you just put the word list right in front of it. But by default, it would use the common.txt word list, and you can see as well it's found the same web objects that the other tools that we looked at initially found as well. It's also doing a recursive, going into those directories and doing a recursive search, and you can see the status code happening in real time. It's found Joomla, phpMyAdmin. So play around with these tools and see which one you think works well for you, and hopefully that helps you in terms of brute forcing for web objects within a web application. And yeah, that concludes the end to this video. So thanks for watching, guys, and I should catch up with you some other time. Take care.